Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about something kind of going viral inside the Mopar community over the last day. I wrote about it this afternoon on Mopar Insiders, but I figured, hey, I had an original video planned, but I said, we'll talk about this because it's gaining a lot of hype. So you can read by the title here. It says, Kentucky police crush Dodge Durango HELLCAT in bold crackdown. So yesterday, Louisville, Kentucky's their Metro Police Department had a special press conference. Now, they do press conferences every week, and usually they go through the crime statistics for the city and whatnot. But they decided to hold a special press conference in which they actually showcased a 2021 Dodge Durango SRT HELLCAT that they crushed with a car crusher. And the reason behind this was this vehicle, if you can see down here in the picture, it looks pretty stock. I mean, it looks like your typical F8 green 2021 Dodge Durango SRT HELLCAT with the SRT black package. But what they did was, it was caught illegally street racing back at the 2024 Street Rod Nationals. So not only did they confiscate it, but with vehicles like this, they'll do a couple things. They'll either, auction them off, or they'll maybe roll them into their fleet to kind of bring like a community awareness vehicle to their lineup. But they can't do it with this one. And the very interesting part about this whole whole story is the fact that this really isn't a 2021 Dodge Durango SRT HELLCAT. Basically, yeah, it looks the part. It has the equipment. It has a HELLCAT engine under the hood. But unfortunately, it's made from stolen SRTs and the other Durangos. So again, we don't know exactly what it's made from, but what they said was basically that the engine was stolen and the chassis numbers, the serial numbers on the chassis didn't even line up. So we don't know if the insurance companies for both of those vehicles that, this came from were actually paid off already or whatnot, but nonetheless, with it being made up of stolen parts, it basically makes it no longer street legal. So they can't keep it for their fleet and they can't auction it off. So the only other choice was to crush it. So they decided to make an example out of it and called up the local media, and they had a bunch of people there, and they crushed it right on live on their social media accounts as well as local TV. So again, I see a lot of people complaining online saying, oh my God, they crushed a Durango, it's rare, even though it was supposed to be done after 2021, it's still a rare vehicle. Technically, yes, and technically no, because it's got a HELLCAT engine, but it's not technically an SRT Durango. Now, what they could have done is again, we don't know the whole story. Nobody from the, press asked what vehicle it was. Now, it could be two stolen Durango SRT HELLCATs. It could be an RT Tow and Go, with the same equipment. It could be a V6 with all the SRT stuff. We don't know. But nonetheless, none of the VIN numbers and serial numbers match on anything. So that's what basically kind of concealed its fate. And it was crushed yesterday. So anyways, I figured I'll play a couple of clips from the actual video, and then I'll show you it being crushed. But I want to know what you guys think about all this. Being that they're cracking down on reckless driving, illegal street racing, and these stolen vehicles, do you think they should make more examples out of vehicles like this and make them public so people kind of know? Leave your comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video.
One of the things I want to point out from the start is that this was a huge issue just a year ago. The number of street takeovers and the number of complaints that we got about this type of behavior, it was really headline news for several months last year. And to the thanks of, you'll see several of our traffic officers standing over there. I know they don't want to be on camera, but that's a lot of them over there that had played a huge role in shutting this down, gathering intel on these events, as well as to our patrol officers that helped us out with that. The county attorney's office, who was absolutely integral in making sure that we could appropriately charge and prosecute anything related to the street racing. And then also one institute that you might not think about, but it plays a role in this today, is the NCIB, the National Crime Insurance Bureau, who evaluates a lot of the cars that we take into our tow lot about whether or not they're going to be street worthy. And so what you see behind us is a 2021, I believe, HELLCAT Durango. This car is pieced together from several different stolen cars. The engine, the frame, the body, they're all from different cars. And so for that reason, this car is not street legal and cannot be put back out on the street. We did consider how to sell some of those parts, but because of the nature of the way that car is assembled, that's not going to be a fiscally responsible avenue. So as a notice to everyone, we're going to be crushing this car today. And we want this to be symbolic to people who are out here doing this street racing, understanding that we will take your car. Whether it's us seizing it by the ordinance, which, just to give you some numbers, so far we've seized 52 cars to date for this year, and last year we seized 70 total and 62 in 2023, and we've seized a total of 167 cars under this ordinance. So that's very important to understand, that work is being done, and we've effectively put a stop to this. I mean, we still have issues that pop up, but you all have seen, the public has seen that we don't have the issues that we had just a year ago. So we can seize these cars for up to 6 months, and then there's a fine after that. And normally when we tow cars, when we seize cars, once that car is released, this does not include victims' cars, but once that car is released, the owner has 45 days to come and claim it. And so when they don't, we ultimately take possession of those cars, and they're either put up for auction, so that's revenue returned back to the police department, to the city, to do the work that we need to do, which I would have loved to have thrown this car in the fleet if it were street legal. But the other thing that we do is we end up scrapping them for recycling. And so far, out of street racing cars, we have auctioned off 4 street racing cars, but we have not taken any into our fleet. So as I said, this is a car that's assembled out of many different parts, so we will not be able to sell or use this car in our fleet. But again, just to reemphasize, this is a message to people who want to go out here and participate in this dangerous behavior, that we are not going to tolerate it on the streets of Louisville. And with that, I will turn it over to Mayor Craig Greenberg, who will be the one that will press the button and get this kicked off.